Hey guys, Ben here. So this is my first attempt at making a hard cider. So doing an apple recipe by Brewer's Best. It's their Cider House apple cider kit, and I'm going to show you how it all comes together. All right. All right. So this is the kit I'm making here. This is the Brewer's Best hard cider kit. It makes 6 gallons. I also needed 2 pounds of corn sugar, or dextrose. So currently I'm heating up 1 gallon of water to boil. I'm going to mix all this in and then I'll top off. But I want to open this here. This is going to have my apple juice concentrate. Not sure if you can see this. Let's see if I can bring this closer. So there we go. So here is my instructions and extra ingredients. It smells really good. Let's open that up. There's some sweetener. Supposed to add that after it ferments, is what I read. And then your instructions. There should be yeast in here as well. Here you go. Premier cider yeast. Gonna be good times. And then in the other side of this little divider here is all our concentrate. So you'll see that a little bit better once we dump it all in. So yeah, there you go. So there's our ingredients. Once we get this thing all heated up here, it'll be good to go. There's not a lot of water in the pot. It's only a gallon. It's actually the coil underneath is making this thing kind of shake a little bit. There's not a lot of water to hold in place. So I am checking the temp periodically with my infrared laser thingy here. So it looks to be about 143, pretty consistent around the inside. So once it gets up to temp, we will do some more things. We got our 1 gallon of hot water here. I'm just going to dump this in. This is a sanitized bucket. There you go. Might be a little bit of foam in there for leftover from the sanitizer, but it's all right. Don't fear the foam, right? That's what they always say. So what we're going to do is add our 2 pounds of corn sugar here. So let's see. Dump that in. In goes the first. Let's see, let's grab a spoon. Let's stir while we do that. Alright, this is a sanitized spoon. Creating essentially a very sugary water. Just a little bit left in there, but I guess I could like rinse it out with water or something, but I'm not too worried about it. There'll be plenty of sugar. Alright, and we'll do the next one. This is a real quick process, guys. This isn't quite like having to brew beer. There's no mash, there's no, anything like that. So, here we go. We'll dump this one in. Stir it up, get it really well incorporated. You can tell I don't stir left-handed very well. It's like trying to brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand. You always feel like an idiot. Alright. There we go. And now, would like us to add in the concentrate. So let's do that. I've already cut the top open to get the ingredients out, so you gotta make sure you don't spill it. It's kind of a flimsy bag. Alright, so there we go. Looks like apple juice. It's a very concentrated apple juice. Sticky, sugary. They say these kits should be about 5.2% ABV. As long as the yeast does its job. Alright, so we want to try to get every last bit out of this. Let's do that. This is probably the process that will take the longest, is actually just getting the stuff out of here. all that goodness out, just like if you're doing beer, trying to get all the sweet goodness out of your wort, or out of your grains to produce your wort. Let's see, squeeze it all out. There we go. Alright, we'll set that off to the side. Rinse my hands real quick, it's kind of sticky. Alright, we'll give it a stir. It's very, very sugary. If I took a gravity reading right now, it'd be off the chart. We're going to dilute this down. It smells like apple cider. It smells awesome. We're going to dilute this and bring it up to 6 gallons. Usually in my brewing process, there's enough like a trube or yeast sediment at the bottom to cancel off about a half a gallon. There's not quite as much stuff in here, so I may get a little over 5 gallons. But this is going to go into a 5-gallon keg, so if I end up with a little bit more by the time I get to racking it, I don't know, I'll figure out something else to do. Or just drink it uncarbonated. So there you go. Let me, I'm gonna go grab some more cold water now to top it up and bring it down to pitching temp for the yeast. So I got my water here. This is 4 gallons of cold water. I took a temp reading and it's about 50 degrees because we're in the upper Midwest and that's how cold the water is here. So I'm gonna dump this in and then I'm gonna stir it up. This should get us up over our 5-gallon mark, really close to 6. Alright, I don't know if you can see on the side here, but here's 5, and it's probably to about right here. So I would say it's just under 6. We'll call it 5.5. So it definitely looks more like apple juice now. We're going to give it a stir. I don't want to slosh it around now because if it's sticky and syrupy, I don't want it to make a mess. Alright, so there's that. Then they want us to add the sweetener. So this is 6.3 grams. Let's see if you can see that. There you go. So if we want it sweet, whole packet, medium, or dry. I really like dry cider, but I know my wife is not a huge fan of really dry cider, so we're going to go with medium. I think that is what we're going to be, the happy medium. Keep everyone in this house happy. I have a feeling she's going to probably drink this a little bit more than I do, so cut the top off there. See if I can figure out how much is half. A little bit more. There we go. Alright, so that's about half. Let's stir that in real good. Alright, let's take a gravity reading. I have my refractometer here. So let's do that. Let's check the temperature as well. So I've got about 73. I don't know if you can see that on there. Yeah, it's about right. 73.9, pretty even throughout the whole thing. 74 over there. So yeah, that's a good temp. The instructions here suggest a fermentation temperature of 64 to 77. So yeah, that's kind of right in the middle there. And that's about the temperature it is in our apartment. So I'm not going to stick this in the Cool Brewing brew bag, which I've done some tests on that, seeing how well it holds temp, and that does pretty well, but that kind of puts it towards the bottom end of the spectrum for temp. And just to double check, this is my thermometer here. I just sprayed it with some sanitizer. We're going to stick this in and see what this tells us about the temp. Just as another way to find out. This says about 70 or so. So this may need more calibration, so it's close enough to the infrared, so we'll take that as a win. The other thing I want to check is the gravity here, and so instead of using a whole bunch of sanitizer, I started doing this Star San, just a spray bottle. I mark it so no one accidentally drinks it, and this lasts a really long time. So, you know, for all your little small stuff. So let's get the refractometer here. So this handy guy, if you don't have one of these, you can find them inexpensively on Craigslist like I did, or you can just pay outright. So we are going to take a couple drops here. That's really great. You don't have to use a whole hydrometer sample. So the refractometer definitely works best for starting gravity instead of finished gravity, because then it's not quite as accurate and you got to plug it into an equation and stuff. So you look through it up at the bright light and it tells you how many bricks there are, and then we'll do the conversion in a minute over to gravity. I got 12 bricks on the dot. That's fantastic. Really, I don't know where that is quite yet, but you know, actually let me check that out, since I'm always intrigued by numbers. So I'm gonna stop this and check out what that is. All right, I checked that calculation and it was 1048 for the starting gravity at 12 bricks. So maybe I have a little bit more water in here than I need. It's slightly low, but you know, I'm not too concerned about it. 1048, don't let me forget that, guys. Okay, so what we need to do is add our yeast. So there's 2 packets left in this that we haven't used yet. First is the yeast. It's the Cider House Premium Cider Yeast, suitable for 5 to 6 gallons. Fermentation temperature between 60 to 75. That'll be just fine. And then the other thing that they have in here is the apple cider flavoring. So just to give it more of an apple flavor once it's done fermenting, before you rack it or bottle it. The guy at the shop said to taste it after fermentation and just see if it's appley enough for you. And if it's not, then don't worry about adding it. Just leave it as it is. So here we go. Cut the top off the cider yeast and follow the instructions. I am going to stir this in. Some people say don't, some people say do. Whatever the manufacturer says, since they made it, I'll follow what they're doing. So sprinkle the whole thing right over the top there. Give it a stir. Make sure there's none on the side here. None stuck to the spoon. So you want all that goodness down in there. All right. Set that off to the side. Let's grab our lid. This is sanitized using the spray bottle from Star San. Let's see. Where is this going to go? Right here. Okay. Turn it so it gives enough clearance for the airlock right there. Snap it on. There we go. Grab the airlock. This is filled with Star San also. There we go. Make sure it can clear. Almost. You know, let's put this aside for now. Stick it back in the sanitizer real quick. We're going to move this to its fermenting place, and then we'll add the airlock back on. Alright, so there we put it in its final resting place on top of my chest freezer, soon to be keezer. This is going to go in the one of the kegs. Since I don't know really how much fermentation activity we're gonna have, because I've never done a cider before, I filled up this 1 gallon jug of Star San, and I have a piece of hose right here that I can sanitize and stick it in there, replace the airlock, just in case I don't want to have to wake up to overflow in the morning. I'm sure the wife will not be happy about that. So it's going to be about 68, probably 72 in the apartment, which will put it right in the middle of the temperature range for this yeast. Yeah, really don't know what else to say about that. All right, so there we go. It's pretty easy. You know, my average brew day for a 5-gallon batch extract is about 3.5 hours, and I will soon be going all grain, so I expect to add at least an hour and a half onto that. So this was pretty quick. I did start to finish, even took a phone call in less than 30 minutes. So real simple. Put some stuff in, stir it up. There you go. So have you guys ever done a one of these kits before, or done one with actual like fruit? I'd love to hear about it. Put some notes in the comments. You can find the recipe for this, which I will probably just upload a link to on my brewing website, homesweethomebrewer.blogspot.com. So there you go. So this has been Ben on a wonderful Thursday evening making some cider.